Hey, I'm here with Badger from Fly Janet, Denver, Colorado, surf rock band. And I'm very excited because this is a new band to me. And over the last 2 years, I have been following them. And come season 9, I wanted them to participate. And Badger was kind enough to join me today. How are you, Badger?
Doing good. How you doing? It's awesome to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. For me too. Tell me a little bit about how you started Fly Janet. I noticed a lot of punk rock. You got your shirt, Teenage Bottle Rocket, and the Menzingers. Um, in my life, there's a lot of punk rock, and so I get the connection. But tell me your story.
So we Drew and I were friends, bandmates. I mean, probably on and off playing in bands together since we were like 15. I moved to Houston. He happened to be there when we were both living there, and we were in a full-time band together, and that I joined later on, and we just knew him for years. And when I left that band, I stepped down. I left to go. I left was leaving Texas to go work. I was a travel nurse, and so years and years we would chat periodically and stuff like that. And then when I finally settled down here in Denver, he came to visit a couple times. And it's like almost like it's like like it's like bad habits. You can't get rid of it. You sit around and we're hanging out and catching up, and the next thing you know, you're writing music, we're building guitars
Yep.
together, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
So,
but we yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we both came up in punk and metal and hardcore music and stuff like that, and that's even no matter what kind of bands we'll play in, it's there'll always be elements of that. It's I feel like that's just a natural thing that's gonna happen.
Cool. I noticed you have three EPs on Bandcamp. There's
Mhm.
gonna be a link in the description where you can go and purchase those and sample them. But what I noticed is you started off kind of like a instrumental rock band, and then the middle one, which I thought was cool, is there's this death metal type logo for Fly Janet, and
Yep.
that's a little bit more experimental, I think. Uh,
Yeah.
but like the new one is totally surf. Um, Tell me about that journey because being a musician your whole life, I'm sure every experiment and every choice was planned out.
So it was, and it was like kind of like a Drew and I think the thing that helped it was that we just didn't really have like we did when we recorded Rachel, we didn't know if we were going to take it live. I was playing in another band with our live drummer the that we have now, and like I always had told Drew, I'm like, yo, dude, you ever want to do this again? I'll move mountains to make this shit happen. I really will. And so he came over, we were reconnecting, and we decided to record these songs. We had written these songs, and the guy that produced it, he was our audio engineer and mixed it for us. It was definitely one of those where like he had never recorded a surf rock band before, and he didn't really have too much background with it. But he also like he did a great job. It sounded good,
Yeah,
and we kind of got that vibe. We just kind of it's like you kind of like learn to not be afraid to just kind of let things go the way it's going to. And then it kind of came out that way. And we still primarily like live right now. We're primarily playing like we definitely I think we play every song off of that EP, and then we sprinkle in a couple of the other from the other EPs. But it just kind of happened that way. And I mean, I think we were still kind of like, like we knew we were going to be a surf rock band and an instrumental band. And so I think what you're seeing is us kind of getting into the groove of it, so to speak, you know?
yeah. Finding finding your spot.
Right.
So one thing you did mention, well, before I ask that, I want to say a comment on Helsinki.
Okay.
Really good fucking tune, man.
And I appreciate that.
It really like when I heard it, it made me do a double take, and then I listened to it a second time, and I'm like, yeah, like this is like they're doing it. Like this is exactly the type of instrumental music I like.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear. We like when Drew comes over, like because we live in two different parts of the country, and so when we come together, it's like it's band time. It's like we're writing, we're vibing, hanging out. We're like, or we're playing shows and stuff like that. And when we went through and we were writing Easy Money, we had written a lot of these, and then I actually left for my honeymoon out of the country.
Hmm.
And Drew was like a nice dude. He's house sitting. I have two big dogs, and so when we came back, we realized that we had an EP right there. And so like that album we recorded like literally right in here. We did everything ourselves, mixed, mastered, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And Helsinki was actually like, if you look at our like Spotify streams, and I don't really, there's no real rhyme or reason, but like for some reason when these numbers took off out of nowhere, it was a lot of them was in Helsinki and like in that country and like in that city, and it was just kind of like. And so in our mind, it was kind of like the song sounds like a love song, or like a doo-wop 50 song. And so it was like a nice like tip of the hat to be like, hey man, and I don't know if that was just like a luck of the draw, but in our mind, it was like a tip of the hat saying like thank you kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my wedding song was "Sleepwalk"
Oh, really?
by Santa and Johnny. It's always been my favorite song. So
That's awesome.
anything that has the smallest connection to that,
Yeah,
has like a place in my heart.
that's
And,
cool.
and Helsinki is now one of those songs.
Dude,
Uh,
that's awesome.
yeah, totally. I want to get back to you guys building equipment together and uh,
Yeah,
redoing equipment like that guitar behind you, the Russian guitar,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and pedals and like that. Because before the interview, you told me you had a kind of an engineering background.
So yeah, so my grandpa he's an engineer, and so as a kid, like it's I'm Houston. It rains a lot. It's almost like clockwork during the certain times of the year. And he would like, hey, it's raining today. Sit down. We're gonna build a motion detector. And as a kid, you're just like, are you kidding me? I just want to play an N64 right now. And so him forced me to learn. At the time, I when it was done, it was cool and stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I'll ever use it again. But then when I got into music, later on, it's like I had a little bit of knowledge, but he's the wizard when it comes to that kind of stuff, and he's kind of been like the dad, like teaching you how to change a tire and stuff. Like he'll. So I will say I've done that. I've built this, kind of tweaked this bass back here, and I'm working on another one right now. But like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it 100% by myself. I could get close to the finish line, but Drew makes sure I get it across the finish line. And he's just really really good at what he does, and he's like been able to kind of show me and teach me even like the amount of effort and time it goes into like painting some of these guitars and like the coats and all this stuff. And I was just like, I guess in my mind I had no idea how like how much time it can take and like the tiniest little thing and you're starting over from scratch.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's like that's literally. I have another Russian bass I'm building right now. I'm not even gonna show it to you because I'm so mad at it. But he's out of the country, and I was like, "That's it. This is gonna be my time. I'm gonna do this." He's gonna come home, and I'm gonna be like, "I did it myself. Got it all wired up. It's not working. I have no idea what I did wrong." So, which is fine. It's cool. It's a learning process, and I'm all about
Yeah.
it. But I'm just like I'm very butthurt about it right now.
When you guys get together and you work on electronics, pedals, guitars, what do you find? What piece of equipment would you find is the most fun and most satisfying to work on when you get together with Drew?
To me, it's like so I have another bass that's actually behind this blue one, and it's to me it's like finding a cheap beat down thing from like a pawn shop or guitar shop and being like this looks cool, but I know it sucks. You know what I mean? Like and then take like getting one new pickup and putting it in there and just hearing how it immediately sounds like something I'd pay
Yeah.
like 2 grand for. And
Yep.
to me, like looking at that and then being like Drew going like, why do you like that? Why do you think that's cool? You like it? Would you want that to sound like? Let's make it sound like that. Like that's to me, it's like oh yeah, we can do that with anything we want to. And like, I guess like having that knowledge now, it's like that's it. Like music gear, like I look at things and it's almost like I'm not even. I enjoy good brands and stuff like that. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But it's just cool to be like, oh, well, I don't care what that says.
Yeah.
We can make it sound like whatever we want.
I have an SG over here. Uh
Huh?
that one, and it's a 71 SG. It's my uncle's. He's like, go try that. And I tried it, and I don't know. Gibson's always kind of sit funny. You have to get used to holding them.
Yep.
Um, so he's like, "Why do you like Fender so much?" I'm like, "I don't know." And I put that single coil humbucker in there, and I love the feel of a Strat, and I like the sound of
Yeah.
that 59 Gibson pickup. And I said, and I explained that to him. I said, "Yeah, you know, I love the way those Gibsons have that pounding, heavy sound, but I feel more comfortable playing the Strat." So it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like an Eddie Van Halen kind of.
Yeah, yeah. When it's funny you say that. When I was younger, I was like, I grew up playing like in like punk and hardcore bands,
Yeah,
and I was playing in a hardcore band, and I'm the same way. I like if I'm playing guitar or like I tend to lean towards Fender, and I at the time I was obsessed with Telecasters, and but it's not it doesn't have a humbucker in it. And I
yeah,
remember I got the first like hot rod pickup in the back of it, and it was like my pride and joy to go play a show, and they'd be like, how did you get it to sound so
yeah.
beefy? And I'm just like, oh, thank you for saying that.
All you have to like, I'm sure you probably would say all you have to do is mess around a little bit, and that one piece of information you get if affects everything.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you level up. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And that's why I don't mind the hurdles like this one I'm trying to build right now. It's like I even though I didn't get it to work yet, like I know I will, but like this is my first time cutting my own pick guard. And when I'll show it to you when I get it done, but the pick guard is it's like over 50% of the body of the guitar. And
Yeah,
I got to go to my buddy's house and I got like a bandsaw and I'm learning how to cut it. So like to me, it's like even though there's still things I'm not getting, like it's still a cool process and it makes me
yeah.
want to get out even more with all this kind of stuff.
It's a life skill you're learning.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So there is a lot um a lot of music related things going on in Denver, Colorado. Um, like you have the Colorado Instrumental Fanzine,
Yep.
which came out last year, which is
Yeah.
it,
I actually know him very well. I would say he's a friend of mine at this point. He's a cool dude. He really is.
yeah, he's a cool dude, and you have Snappy Little Numbers with Chuck Coffee, and you know, tell me what it's like being like it's almost like a mecca there.
It's very strange. So like when I was a travel nurse, I'd kind of like I will always still play music even when I'm not actively doing it like this. But I would go to cities and pick assignments based off of like like I like, oh, this venue is supposed to be crazy to go to, all that kind of stuff. When I came here, it was so random, and I knew about Red Rocks, but I just in my mind this wasn't going to be as big of a music city as I thought it was. And immediately I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. This is crazy. Like, and like to the point where like I I was looking for I'm like I feel like travel nursing, it's like commitment issues to living somewhere. I was looking for reasons to leave, and every time I look, I'm like, dude, I have everything here. There's so much going on. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like even learning like like Teenage Bottle Rockets up in Fort Collins, like built from the Descendants has a studio over here, and it's just like
yeah,
my mom. Like I ran into people from like there's the bass player from Flogging Molly lives. There's so many people here.
yeah,
I'm just like, what are you doing? You're literally in the middle of everything that you would ever want to be in. Like this is
yeah.
like I was like I'm gonna say Denver's home now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, before we go, I want to thank you for an incredible interview
I
and
appreciate it.
give you a chance to say anything or mention anything I might have forgot to ask about or ask me a question.
I got so I'll say that I just like it's we have some shows. We have like a tour thing we're gonna do here coming up in October. We're in the process of selecting a studio right now to record our next album. And then just like super grateful for like how all of this is kind of took off pretty quick in a weird way. Like I don't necessarily think we're huge or anything like that, but just it's gotten a lot of streams and plays, and people are showing up to shows, and each show is bigger and bigger, and it really has been incredible. And it's like I like after we kind of connected and going through your stuff, like I just my thing to you is like out of all my question to you, I guess would be out of all the artists that you've interviewed, and I know younger bands like to us like stuff like that doesn't count, but I mean like the greats that you got to talk to, who's probably had the most meaningful conversation with you, I guess is what I would be curious to know about.
Oh my God. Well, what's funny is, like everybody's a meaningful conversation
Sure.
in that respect because I started during the lockdown as something to do, and I love talking about music, and I couldn't talk to anybody, so
Right.
I started doing this. My three, my goal was to get all the singers from All, because they're my favorite band.
Yeah, yeah.
First, I got Dave, then I got Scott, and then I got Chad. So I'm not gonna pick a single one, but
Sure, sure.
I would say that chunk of three guys.
Yeah, that collection.
Yeah, and that was like right when I first started. They
Dang,
had
that's crazy.
yeah.
You're like a Pokemon collector, man. You got all. I can't believe you got all three of them. That's wild.
Yeah, that was my goal. And like I knew Mila would be kind of a reach.
Yeah,
Um but but then I met up with Dave with one of his other bands in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
yeah.
I went to see them and I took my family to meet him and we met him and they played with a couple bands from Philadelphia that I knew. So I was like, oh my God, I knew everybody there.
That's too cool. I have a funny little tidbit to add on to that if it doesn't take up too much time for you. But so when I was in Houston, I went back to school for nursing, and so I stopped. I was a paramedic before that. So my buddy ran a t-shirt printing company called Night Owls Print,
Okay.
and so we were printing. And at the time, there was a big music festival they would do it there every year called Free Press Summerfest. And
Hmm.
so somehow I from printing and we did all the merch there. I weaseled my way to the side of the stage. Nobody caught me. I was wearing like a sleeveless Death Row record shirt. I think I just acted like I was supposed to belong. I got to stand on the side of the stage and right next to Bill while the Descendants played. Like this is like right when they first kind of came back. And I'm
Uh,
sitting there and I look over and to my right, I realize that the lead singer from Touche Amore is standing right next to me, and I was just like, it was like one of those moments where I was like, this if I'm peaking right now, I'm totally cool with it. This is the best thing in the world.
yeah, I'm totally like I could stare at Bill and just watching his faces and
Oh, exact
and
dude.
the way he plays.
Our drummer David, he's a young guy, so I don't know if he really gets it, but like I think half of the reason I fell in love with playing with him is he doesn't even know it. He makes those faces sometimes, and
uh,
I'm just like, hell yeah, man. You probably don't know, but like good job. Keep it up. You're doing great.
All right, Badger. Thanks so much. I had a great time talking to you.
You too, man, for real. And I seriously, I look forward to many more interviews, watching you get to interview more people. It's been a lot of fun catching up, learning this stuff.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.